Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. We'll we could begin by paying respects to the shrine, to Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Okay, just welcome everybody. Today is the final day of our consecration ceremonies, and we started Friday evening, last night, today, so some people have been plugging in from the beginning. It's exactly why we wanted to give many people the opportunity to join in and be a part of the I mentioned it this morning. It's sort of like creating sacred space of the hall, of the shrine, of the Buddha image, of the building. These are things that are transformed by our own intention, volition, and by holding those aspirations in our mind. I think what comes to mind is going to places that have been holy sites for a long time, and you go there and there's a palpable feeling of something very different. I think, say, like in, of course, the biggest place in the Buddhist world is Bodh Gaya, where people have been recollecting the enlightenment, the place of the Buddha's enlightenment for over 2,500 years. So that and people have been doing pujas, have been paying respects, have been chanting, meditating over that time, and you go into the sphere of that space, and you feel very different than what it's like outside. For anybody who's been to Bodh Gaya, I mean, the chaos of sort of an Indian market town outside, and then you go into the shrine, and it's just all of a sudden, it's not as if it's quiet all the time or it's still, but there's a feeling of really settling and being at a place that's important. Or I remember the first I went to Burma, the Shwedagon is sort of a stupa jayadi in the middle of Yangon, and I wasn't expecting much of anything. So another shrine, and you go in there, and it's just this incredible feeling of devotion and it really is there's a feeling of encouragement, and that's a palpable feeling of faith. And so that then similarly, say like in Thailand, the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, you think of something always going on there, the area around, but it's very special. So these places in the world that are places of pilgrimage, places of spiritual practice, they change over time. And similarly, I mean, this is all brand new, but changing it from being a construction site into a sacred space is important. And it's all of our wishes, all of our aspirations, all of our intentions that we can focus. And of course that helps support us as well. So that the present, and particularly the presence of a Buddha image that is a solid reminder of the qualities of the Buddha. When I was looking for an image for this, I knew we were building a new hall, and wanting to have a new image. Then this is a few years ago now. I was in Thailand, traveling around, and with my kind of in the back of my mind, when I want to find a really nice image that I think would be appropriate for America, in the sense of, because we have it's a very diverse ethnic groups that come here, Thai, Lao, Khmer, Sri Lankan, Indian, and your ordinary run-of-the-mill Americans, so, which are already diverse. So it's a very broad range of people coming. So that I wanted something that would be universal to everybody. So that the image, and I saw in Thailand the majority of Buddha images are cast in bronze, in metal, and there's very highly developed artistry in Thailand, and but wherever I was going, nothing was grabbing me, and but then I was at the end of my trip. I was up in a remote area where there's a Western monk who has actually spent time here, Ajahn Achalo. He's Australian, and he started a monastery in Phetchabun province. It's quite remote, and he had a stone image, maybe it was about that high, and I looked at it and I said, "Oh, that's what I would like." So I talked with him in the sense, that's the style. I didn't want it that small. I want it big. But so I asked him where he had it, and he said, well, he knew the sculptor, and he got to know the sculptor, and he did it for him. So I said, oh, well, would you think he would do an image for Abhayagiri? And so he said, oh, yes, he would love to do it. And he said, and then the monk offered to oversee the carving of the image, and I was felt very comfortable leaving it in his hands, because he's an aesthete. He likes refined things. He likes beautiful things. He lived here for a year, and most people don't see it because it's in the monk's room. The monk's room, the walls are painted. I mean, it's not much of a wall, but how many times did he paint that? 8 times, probably, to get it just right, the right texture, right color. So okay, we'll leave it in his hands, and so that he did oversee it, and of course, nothing's ever straightforward and easy. There's usually an obstacle here, a difficulty there. In the end, it got carved 3 times. So this was the third try. So I feel it's very beautiful. It has a very nice feeling of calm, serenity, as well as compassion, loving kindness. These are the qualities of the Buddha. And so that to be able to have a presiding image that one looks at, pays respects to. Also, there's a certain element of self-serving intention. I sit in the front of the hall. I sit at the head of the line. I have to pay respects to this image every day, and if it's something that really irritates me, that's not a good thing. But this is not going to do that. No, it's really it's a peaceful image, and it's really I'm delighted that we have an image of this quality and as this presence, so that for us to welcome the image, to use it as a means of lifting up our own aspirations and recollecting the qualities of the Buddha, what the Buddha represents. There's a variety of qualities that the Buddha represents, of the constellation of qualities. So that, like when we do the like just now we did the Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. If you're Buddhist, you grew up a Buddhist, you know that chant. But that's pointing to three primary qualities of the Buddha. The Arahang is referring to Arahant, far from defilement, one who is pure. So it's pointing to the quality of purity. Arahang Samma Sambuddho, say one who has been fully awakened by himself, pointing to wisdom. The Bhagava is one who brings blessings. It's a quality of compassion. So these qualities of wisdom, purity, compassion are kind of the three pillars of virtues that the Buddha rests on, but also sets an example for the rest of us, because it isn't enough just to be wise. Because sometimes if you're wise, you've got knowledge, you're intelligent, you're sharp, you might not be very compassionate. And you might use your intelligence to do things that aren't so skillful. The quality of purity and compassion needs to be there to support. To have only compassion without purity or wisdom to support it and balance, and sort of say, what's the way to direct that quality of compassion, empathy, when we feel the suffering of others? How do we wisely direct our efforts and energies so that we can actually accomplish something rather than getting overwhelmed? And same with sometimes purity can be, like sometimes just being around somebody who's pure, it can be really insufferable. In the sense of might not be very sensitive, not be very clued in. They're pure, but so those qualities balance each other, and those are qualities that we ourselves, it's so important for us to be able to bring into being, so that I think as we go through this ceremony today, the consecration is a lifting up of these qualities within our own heart, and reflecting on the Buddha, and bringing them to being, but then recognizing that we ourselves can take responsibility for the cultivation and embodying of these qualities, and also to be realizing that we're that's what is also, say, providing a refuge and a protection for us as human beings. We can live in a world that is sometimes chaotic or confusing, but those virtues are accessible to us all the time. As a Buddhist practitioner, we have the Buddha as refuge, Dhamma as the teaching, Sangha as the embodiment or example community to live by. So we'll begin the ceremony with calling the Devas, and one of the invite Ajahn Jodi Palo to do that. And everybody have the sheets? Great. And this is a chant that is used in ceremonies for the requesting the presence of protective beings, protective deities, to join, to participate, to be a part of this. And it's also, I think, in a long-term perspective, it's really inviting the deities and protective devas, beings of light is what devas literally means. So that inviting them to be here and stay here and be a refuge for all of us. Namayang Buddhassa Bhagavato Pupapakanamakalang Karomase Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Dhammāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Saṅghāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Dhammāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Dhammāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi Itipiso Bhagavā Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichācarana Samphanno Sukhato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati Sattha Deva Manussanam Buddho Bhagavati Savakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sannidhiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Anahiko Pachatam Vedidhammo Vinyuhiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Chupatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Nyaya Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Samiti Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Yadidam Cattari Purisa Yuga Niyata Purisa Bhogala Hesa Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅgho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo So the next part of the ceremony is that I would do some readings that would allow us to bring to mind the story of the Buddha, and particularly his awakening and his search and his enlightenment and the arising of his intention to be a refuge for others. And these are the first reading is from the Sutta Nipata, which is the Pambaja Sutta, is about the going forth, is leaving the world and seeking a training, seeking practice, and the things that his intention and his determination. I will describe the going forth, how he, the one with vision, went forth, how he reasoned and chose the going forth. And this is sort of in his mind or in the Buddha's thought. Household life is crowded, a realm of dust, while going forth is the open air. Seeing this, he went forth. On going forth, he avoided evil deeds in body. Abandoning verbal misconduct, he purified his livelihood. Then he, the Buddha, went to Rajagaha, the mountain fortress of the Magadhans, and wandered for alms, endowed with all the foremost marks. King Bimbisara, standing in his palace, saw him, and on seeing him, consummate at marks, said, "Look at this one, sirs, how handsome, stately, pure, how consummate his demeanor. Mindful, his eyes downcast, looking only a plough length before him, as one who is not from a lowly lineage. Send the royal messengers at once to see where this monk will go." They, the messengers dispatched, followed behind him. Where will this monk go? Where will his dwelling place be? As he went from house to house, well restrained, his sense doors guarded, mindful, alert, his bowl filled quickly. Then he, the sage, completing his alms round, left the city, headed for Mount Pandava. That's where his dwelling will be. Seeing him go to his dwelling place, 3 messengers sat down, while one returned to tell the king. That monk, your majesty, on the flank of Pandava, sits like a tiger, a bull, a lion in a mountain cleft. Hearing the messenger's words, the noble warrior king straightway went by royal coach out to Mount Pandava. Going as far as the coach would go, he got down, went up on foot, and on arrival sat down. Sitting there, he exchanged courteous greetings, then said, "You are young, youthful, in the first stage of youth, endowed with the stature and coloring of a noble warrior. You would look glorious in the vanguard of an army, arrayed with an elephant squadron. I offer you wealth, enjoy it. I ask your birth, inform me." "Straight ahead, your majesty, by the foothills of the Himalayas, is a country consummate in energy and wealth, inhabited by Kosalans, Solar by clan, Sakyans by birth. From that lineage I have gone forth, but not in search of sensual pleasures. Seeing the danger in sensual pleasures, and renunciation as rest, I go to strive. That's where my heart delights." That's the Buddha's determination, his aspiration. And that was very early in his, shortly after he left his kingdom as a royal prince and searching, and that's of course in India that has a very rich tradition to this day of religious seekers wandering, practicing in different ways and traditions. And then that next reading is from the middle-length discourses, the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 26. It's called the Aryapariyesana Sutta. It means the discourse on the noble search. And this is, it's actually a very long sutta. This is just an excerpt from it. Bhikkhus, before my enlightenment, while I was still only an unenlightened bodhisattva, I too, being myself subject to birth, sought what was also subject to birth. Being myself subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement, I sought what was also subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement. Then I considered thus, why, being myself subject to birth, do I seek what is also subject to birth? Why, being myself subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement, do I seek what is also subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement? Suppose that, being myself subject to birth, having understood the danger in what is subject to birth, I seek the unborn, supreme security from bondage, nibbana. Suppose that, being myself subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement, having understood the danger in what is subject to aging, sickness, death, sorrow, and defilement, I seek the unaging, unailing, deathless, sorrowless, and undefiled supreme security from bondage, nibbana. Later, while still young, a black-haired young man endowed with the blessing of youth, in the prime of life, though my mother and father wished otherwise, and wept with tearful faces, I shaved off my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and went forth from the home life into homelessness. Having gone forth, bhikkhus, in search of what is wholesome, seeking the supreme state of sublime peace, I went to Alara Kalama and said to him, and Alara Kalama is one of the religious teachers of the time. He headed a religious community. Friend Kalama, I want to lead the holy life in this Dhamma and discipline. Alara Kalama replied, the Venerable One may stay here. This Dhamma is such that a wise man can soon enter upon and abide in it, realizing for himself through direct knowledge his own teacher's doctrine. I soon quickly learned that Dhamma, and then having learned it and reaped its fruits, he was not convinced that it was going to take him to the goal that he'd set for himself of complete freedom from suffering. Still in search, bhikkhus, of what is wholesome, seeking the supreme state of sublime peace, I went to Uddaka Ramaputta. And similarly, he practiced and fulfilled the aim of that teaching, but he didn't feel satisfied with it. Still in search, bhikkhus, of what is wholesome, seeking the supreme state of sublime peace, I wandered by stages through the Magadhan country until eventually I arrived at Uruvela, at Senanigamma. There I saw an agreeable piece of ground, a delightful grove with a clear flowing river with pleasant, smooth banks, and nearby a village for alms resort. I considered, this is an agreeable piece of ground. This is a delightful grove with a clear flowing river, with pleasant smooth banks, and nearby a village for alms resort. This will serve for the striving of a clansman intent on striving. And I sat down there thinking, this will serve for striving. Then, bhikkhus, Being myself subject to birth, having understood the danger in what is subject to birth, seeking the unborn supreme security from bondage, nibbana, I attain the unborn supreme security from bondage, nibbana. Being myself subject to aging, to sickness, to death, to sorrow, to defilement, having understood the danger in what is subject to all those things, subject to defilement, seeking the undefiled supreme security from bondage, nibbana, I attained the undefiled supreme security from bondage, nibbana. The knowledge and vision arose in me. My deliverance is unshakable. This is my last birth. Now there is no renewal of being. I considered, this Dhamma that I have attained is profound, hard to see, and hard to understand, peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning, subtle, to be experienced by the wise. But this generation delights in attachment, takes delight in attachment, rejoices in attachment. It is hard for such a generation to see this truth, namely, specific conditionality, dependent origination. And it is hard to see this truth, namely, the stilling of all formations, the relinquishing of all acquisitions, the destruction of craving, dispassion, cessation, nibbana. If I were to teach the Dhamma, others would not understand me, and that would be wearying and troublesome for me. Thereupon there came to me spontaneously these stanzas, never heard before. Enough with teaching the Dhamma, that even I found hard to reach, for it will never be perceived by those who live in lust and hate. Those died in lust, wrapped in darkness, will never discern this abstruse Dhamma, which goes against the worldly stream, subtle, deep, and difficult to see. Considering thus, my mind inclined to inaction rather than to teaching the Dhamma. Then Bhikkhus, the Brahma Sahampati, knew with his mind the thought in my mind, and he considered, the world will be lost, the world will perish, since the mind of the Tathagata, accomplished and fully enlightened, inclines to inaction rather than to teaching the Dhamma. Then, just as quickly as a strong man might extend his flexed arm, or flex his extended arm, the Brahma Sahampati vanished in the Brahma world and appeared before me. He arranged his upper robe on one shoulder, and extending his hands in reverential salutation towards me, said, Venerable Sir, let the Blessed One teach the Dhamma. Let the Sublime One teach the Dhamma. There are beings with little dust in their eyes who are wasting through not hearing the Dhamma. There will be those who will understand the Dhamma. Then I listened to the Brahma's pleading, and out of compassion for beings, I surveyed the world with the eye of a Buddha. Surveying the world with the eye of a Buddha, I saw beings with little dust in their eyes, and with much dust in their eyes, with keen faculties and with dull faculties, with good qualities and with bad qualities, easy to teach and hard to teach. And some who dwelt seeing fear and blame in the other world. Just as in a pond of blue or red or white lotuses, some lotuses that are born and grow in the water thrive immersed in the water without rising out of it. And some other lotuses that are born and grow in the water rest on the water's surface. And some other lotuses that are born and grow in the water rise out of the water and stand clear, unwetted by it. So too, surveying the world with the eye of a Buddha, I saw beings with little dust in their eyes and with much dust in their eyes, with keen faculties and with dull faculties, with good qualities and with bad qualities, easy to teach and hard to teach, and some who dwelt seeing fear and blame in the other world. Then I replied to the Brahma Sahampati in stanzas. Open for them are the doors to the deathless. Let those with ears now show their faith. Thinking it would be troublesome, O Brahma, I did not speak the Dhamma, subtle and sublime. So these are words from the discourse on the awakening of the Buddha, the enlightenment of the Buddha, and I think as we reflect on them, they're it's, again, as I was saying, to bring to mind that that's our opportunity, but then also I think as in terms of say as a consecration of an image, to be also recollecting that say this image be a sort of maybe like a beacon of light or a beacon of hope for many other beings into the future. That it's something that opens the doors to the deathless for others. The next thing we could do is another chant, short chant, page 83 in the volume 1 of the chanting book. It's the verses on the Buddha's first exclamation on his, this is what is recorded as the first thing that the Buddha exclaimed, said. It's from the Dhammapada, it's verses from the Dhammapada, and it's that recollection on the round of rebirth, samsara, and that as a religious seeker, having the Buddha having cut that off, or as in the image here, having sort of dismantled the house of the constructing mind, and being able to pull apart the tendency to build ourselves a home in samsara, which is not a good thing to be doing. It's a sort of reassuring our ongoing suffering and difficulty, that this recollection, and so that we can chant this together. Annamayang Patama Buddha Bhasita Gathayo Panamase Aneta Jati Sansarang Sanda Visan Adilvisan Gahakarang Kave Sandho Dokha Jati Punya Punang. For many lifetimes in the round of birth, wandering on endlessly, for the builder of this house I search. How painful is repeated birth. Gahakaraka tosi, Punake Handakahasi, Sambate Pasukha Bhanga, Gahakutang Visankatang, Vesankhara Gatham Chitam Tanhanang Hayam Ajaka. House builder, you've been seen. Another home you will not build. All your rafters have been snapped, dismantled as your ridgepole. The non-constructing mind has come to craving's end. The next chant that we could do is the Buddha's first discourse. It's on page 2 of the light-colored volume of chanting. We'll chant it in Pali. If anybody loses their place or gets fed up with chanting in Pali, it's in English on the left-hand side. You can see what we're actually chanting. So that first night we chanted in Pali, last night we chanted in English. We'll do it in Pali again tonight. We'll do it in the... there's a certain, how do you say, I think importance in maintaining the connection to the scriptural language. By learning the chanting, you can learn a lot of the basic terminology, teachings, and concepts, ideas, views of the Buddha's teachings. Maybe not just today, but over time, and it's a great reference point. As English shifts and changes, it's sort of like if you say, like even most people today can hardly understand a Shakespearean play because it's 16th century English, 400 years old, but because the English language keeps changing. It's the way any language changes, but that's one of the benefits of having a scriptural language, which is it's a fixed language, so you can get a sense of what the Buddha was teaching, speaking, concepts he was views, how he viewed the world and the place in the world of a human being. So that I remember years ago being at a teaching of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's, and a public teaching. He was teaching for many days, and he would start his teachings in the afternoon by asking the different traditions that were there. So Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, before he began teaching, to chant a blessing, so the blessing, the teaching, the occasion. And he specifically requested the Theravadins, one, to chant first, he said, because you're the elder brothers, and two, to chant the Mangala Sutta, the chant on the highest blessings. And I'd been to a couple teachings and we chanted the Mangala Sutta, and then at that time, well, it was the first time we'd translated the Mangala Sutta into English. And so I asked, I said, well, we've got this new translation in English, can we chant it in English? And he said, no, chant in Pali. I want it in Pali, that's not ever going to change. So it's it's not that you don't translate it or know what it means, but it is helpful to have these foundations so you can come back to. So this is, of course, the foundation of the very first teaching that the Buddha gave to his first 5 disciples. So this lays out the teaching on the Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, kind of the core teaching that the Buddha relied on for 45 years of his teaching career. And then that it's like Sariputta is the person who compared the teaching of the Four Noble Truths to the elephant's footprint, in the same way that the footprint of any animal on the planet will fit into the footprint of the elephant, in the same way whatever teachings that the Buddha gives fit into the footprint of the Four Noble Truths. So it's it's the most comprehensive teaching, even though you think, well, it's not much, it's only 4 things, but it's critical, it's essential. So we will chant the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. People can chant along. People can, in Pali, can read it in English, or you can just sit quietly and let the teachings and the intention wash over you and bring to mind the Buddha. Jinkun Dhammo, could you do the introduction?
Anutarang abhisambodhing sambhujito atatagato Patamang yang adese siddhammacakkappavattana anuttarang Sammadeva pavatento loke appativattiyang Yatta kata ubho anta patipati chamajjima Chatusvarya sache suvisudhanyana dasanam Desitang dhammarajena samma sambodhikittanang Namena vissutang suttang dhammacakkappavattana Veyakarana patena Sangitam Dhammanamase
Evam me sutang ekam samayam bhagava varanasiyam viharati yasipatane vijanaye tatrato bhagava panjavakiye bhikkhu amante sidave Sevitamba yochayang game sukama sukhalika nuyogo hino kamo bodhu janiko anariyo anadasanito yochayang atakilamata nuyogo dukho anariyo anadasanito Patipata tathagathena abhisambuddhaca dukhalaniyana karani upasamaya vinya yasambuddhaya nirvanaya sangva Tathikatama jasa bhikkhave majjhima patipata tathagathena abhisambuddhaca dukhalaniyana karani upasamaya vinyaya sambodhaya nirvanaya sangva tathayameva hariyo adhangiko madose Adhidang Samma Diti Samma Sanghapo Samma Vaca Samma Kammando Samma Hajivo Samma Vayamo Samma Sati Samma Samadhiyayangko Sabhikave Majjhima Patipata Tathagathena Abhisambuddhaca dukhalaniyana karani upasamaya vinyaya sambodhaya nirvanaya sangva tatirangko panadikave dukkang ariya sajjang jati dukkang jarapi dukkang maranam dukkang soka parideva dukkang domana supaya sapi dukkang apiye hisambayo gojuko piye hiwepayo gojuko yam vichan nalapati dhammi dukkang sangitena panjupadana kanda dukkaya rangko panapikave dukkha samudayo hariya สัจจังญายังขันนาโพโนภวิกานันนิระยะสหกตาตาตระตาตราบินันนินิเสยทีนังกามทันนาภวทันนาวิภวทันนาอิดังโคปันเบกเวทุกนิโรโดอริยสัจจังโยตัสสะเยวะทันหายะเสสวิรากนิโรโดจักโกปฏินิสสโกมุติยนาลโยเวดังโกปันเบกเวทุกนิโรธกามินีปฏิปทาอริยสัจจังอายเมวะริโยอาทังกิโกนาโกเสยทิดังสัมมาทิฏฐิสัมมาสังกัปปะสัมมาวาจาสัมมากัมมันโตสัมมาอาชีวสัมมาวายาโมสัมมาสติสัมมาสมาธิเอดังโดกังอริยสัจจันติเมเบกเวบุเบอนันตุสุเทสุดัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริตังโฆปานิดังโดกังอริยสัจจันปริญเยอันติเมเบกเวภูเมนานันตุสุเตสุดัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริตังโฆปานิดังโดกังอริยสัจจังปริญญาทันติเมเบกเวภูเมนานันตุสุเตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริดังดุกัสสมุทัยโยอริยสัจจันติเมเบกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริตังโฆปานิดังดุกัสสมุทัยโยอริยสัจจังมหาธัมมันติเมเบกเวภูเบนานันตุสุเตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริตังโฆปานิดังดุกัสสมุทัยโยอริยสัจจังปะหินันติเมเบกเวภูเมนานันตุสุเทสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริดังดุกันิโรโดอริยสัจจันติเมเบกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเทสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริธังโฆปานิดังดุกานิโรโดอริยสัจจังสาชิกาธัมมันติเมเบกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเทสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริญาณังอุตตปาริปัญญาอุตตปาริวิชาอุตตปาริอาโลโกอุตตปาริธังโฆปานิดังดุกานิโรโดอริยสัจจังสาชิกขันติเมเบกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเตสุธัมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาริ นิญญาณังอุตตปาติปัญญาอุตตปาติเวชาอุตตปาติอาโลโกอุตตปาติหิตังสุขนิโรธกามินีปฏิปทาอริยสัจฉันติเมเบกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเตสุธรรมเมสุชาคุงอุตตปาติญาณังอุตตปาติปัญญาอุตตปาติเวชาอุตตปาติอาโลโกอุตตปาติตังโฆปานิดังดุกานิโรธกามินีปฏิปทาอริยสัจจังบาเวตามันติเมเดกเวภูเมอนันตุสุเตสุธรรมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปาติญาณังอุตตปาติปัญญาอุตตปาติเวชาอุตตปาติอาโลโกอุตตปาติทังโกปานิดังดุกนิโรธกามินีปฏิปทาอริยสัจจังบาวิทันติเมเบกเวโลเมอนันตุสุเทสุธรรมเมสุจักขุงอุตตปานิญาณังอุตตปาติปัญญาอุตตปาติเวชาอุตตปาติอาโลโกอุตตปายิยาวะเกวันจะเมเบกเวหิเมสุจัตถุสุอริยสัจเจสุเอวันติภริวาทังนวานัสสาการังยถาภูตังญาณทัสสนังนัสวิสุทธังอโหสิเนวะทาวาหังเบกเวสเดวะเกโลเกสัมมาระเกสัพพะมะเกสัสมณพระมณียาปัจฉัยสเดวมนุสายหนุตตระสัมมาสัมโพธิงอภิสัมโพธปัจฉัญญาสิงยโตจักโฆเมเดกเวหิเมสุจตุสุอริยสัจเจสุเววะนิปาริวัฏทันโนอานัสสาการังยถาภูตังญาณดัสสนังสุวิสุทธังอโหสิยถาหังเบกเวสเดวะเตโลเกสัมมาระเกสัพพะมะเกสัสมณพระมณียาปัจจัยสเดวมนุสายหนุตตรังสัมมาสัมโพธิงอภิสัมพุทโธปัจฉัญญาสิงญาณัญจพันเมดาสนังบุตตปาริยโกปาเมวิมุตติยมันติมาจาทินาติดานิพุนามบโวติธัมมโวจะภะคะวาหะธัมมนาปัญจวัคคียาเบโกภะคะวะโตภาสิตังอภินันตุอิมาสมิญญปันเวยากรณสมิญปัญญมาเนหายสัมมโตคนนัญญาสวิรจังเวตัมมลังธัมมจักขุงอุตตปาติยังกินจิสมุทัยธัมมังสามัญตังนิโรธธัมมังนิปวัตติเตจะภะคะวะตาธัมมจักเกปุมมาเดวาสาธมนุสาเวสุเงทังภะคะวะตาปาราณสียังอิสิปตังเนนิกตาเยอนุตตรังธัมมจักกังบวะจิตังอาปฏิวัติยังสัมมเนนวาพระมเนนวาเดเวนวามาเลนวาพระมุนาวาเคนะชีวาโลกัสมินดิบุมมานังเดวานังสาจังสุตวาจาตุมมหาราชิกาเดวาสะมนุสาเวสุงชาตุมมหาราชิกาเดวานัง งสาดังสุตวาทาวทิงสาเดวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงดาวทิงสานังเทวานังสาดังสุตวายามาเดวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงยามานังเทวานังสาดังสุตวาตุสิตาเดวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงดุสิตานังเทวานังสาดังสุตวานิยมาลลทีเดวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงนิยมาลลทีนังเทวานังสาดังสุตวาปะละเนียมิตวสวาทีเดวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงปะละเนียมิตวสวาทีนังเทวานังสาดังสุตวาพระมกายกาเทวาสัตมนุสาเวสุงเอตังภะคะวะตาปาราณสียังนิสิปัตตเนเมฆตาเยอนุตรังธัมมจักกังภวติตังอาปฏิวัติยังสัมมเนนวาพรหมเนนวาเทเวนวามาเรนวาพระมุนาวาเกนะชีวะโลกัสมินนิติหัตเทนะกันเนนะเทนะโมโหเตยะยาวะรัมมโลกาสาโดอาบุกาชิอายัญญะสัสสหาสีโลกันดาดุสังคัมปิสัมปะคัมปิสัมภเวติยะปะมาโนจะโหลาโรโหราโสโลเกปาตุละโหสิยติกัมเมวะเดวานะเดวานุภาวังกัตโคภะคะวาอุดานะอุดาเนสิยัญญาสิวันตโพคนนัญโยอัญญาสิวันตโพคนนัญโยติอิติหิทังนายสัมมโนคนนัญญาสหัญญาคนนัญโยตเววันนามังคโหสีติธัมมจักรปวัตนสุตานิติทังOkay, we could take this opportunity to sit in meditation. There's a red light showing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we can sit in meditation, sit quietly, bringing to mind the qualities of the Buddha, the those qualities of wisdom, compassion, purity are not, say, when the Buddha was enlightened, he didn't take those qualities with him. He left them for us to cultivate, to develop, and so that is bringing those qualities to mind, so that we realizing that we have that opportunity, and I think also just this setting of aspiration for ourselves, for others, to allow just the image of the Buddha to be a reminder or those, that possibility in the human condition. And sit quietly. Okay, so we could have a quick break, stretch your legs, use the facilities, come on back for part 2. But also just to remind people at the end of the day, those people who didn't receive Buddha images, I'll happy to give people the Buddha image of the day. Okay, let's have a break. if everybody is everybody got their flowers? It's going to be part of the ceremony at the very end. So if we have them now, then that will facilitate. It'll be one of the kind of the final thing that we do is bringing flowers to the Buddha, to the shrine. So if anybody's missing the flowers, then just grab the attention of either Muk or Apple. They will. They're out there. Okay, they're right outside. Okay, great. The flowers, yes. Okay, so we've had a bit of a break. Back in. And we will begin this part of the ceremony with a chant, which is like an asseveration of truth, and it's bringing to mind that sense of having Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha as our refuge, and that we're exceedingly fortunate to have that as a refuge, and to bringing that to mind and recognizing the blessings that come from that, both for others, so that when we'll do the chant twice, and the first time around will be say a dedicating or recollecting the blessings that we share to others, and then bringing it toward ourselves, and recognizing, realizing that we are blessed to have these refuges, because the reality is that as human beings we're always taking some sort of refuge, whether it's a refuge in some distraction, refuge in some kind of superstition, refuge in our iPhones, refuge in whatever. I mean, there's lots of refuges that we take to rely on, depend on, and but to make it very clear to ourselves that we direct our attention, establish our refuges in the Buddha, in the Dhamma, and the Sangha, so that we could begin that chant. Andamayang Satchagiriyagatayo Panamase Nati me saranang Buddho me saranam varam Etena Satcho Ajena Sotite Hotu Sabada Nati me saranang Dhammo me saranam varam Etena Satcho Ajena Sotite Hotu Sabada Nati me saranang Sangho me saranam varam Etena Satcho Ajena Sotite Hotu Sabada Nati me saranang Buddho me saranam varam Etena Satcho Ajena Soti me Hotu Sabada Nati me saranang anyang Dhammo me saranang varam Ekena sacha vacena soti me hotu sabada Nati me saranang anyang Sangho me saranang varam Ekena sacha vacena soti me hotu sabada. The next chant that we'll do is bringing to mind the paramis, the 10 spiritual qualities, spiritual virtues of generosity, a virtue of sila, of renunciation, of wisdom, effort or energy, patience, truth, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity. These are the, especially in the Theravada tradition, the 10 spiritual virtues that the Buddha cultivated that really are perfected in order to bring his awakening to fruition. And it was these qualities that the whole concept of like the Jataka tales, the stories of the Buddha's previous birth, those are stories of how the Buddha in his many previous lifetimes developed certain qualities, and over time this fullness of being manifests and is able to awaken to liberation. And it's these qualities, rather than it being sort of a personal quality or an identity that the Buddha sort of carried with him for hundreds of lifetimes or thousands of lifetimes or whatever. So, going around, oh, I'm a Buddha and I'm going to be a Buddha someday. It's more like there's these qualities of virtues of generosity, wisdom, effort that are cultivated and brought to fruition, and it's these qualities that provide the power of clarity and power of insight to free the heart from samsara, from the round of rebirth and the round of delusion. So, but of course, those are also qualities that we ourselves have to be cultivating as well, so that we can be in our own life, in order to make our own life meaningful and focused. We have these qualities that we can be directing our attention to and making an effort to cultivate, because so it doesn't matter really what circumstance we're in, whether it's fortunate, unfortunate, it's comfortable, uncomfortable. Each one offers an opportunity for developing a skillful and wholesome quality. Pay attention to it. Take that opportunity. We can always grumble and complain and be miserable, but that's not a really great option. The option is much more to take the example of the Buddha and direct our attention to generosity, to virtue, to renunciation, to determination, to equanimity, all of these 10 qualities. And in the the imagining or the structure of this cultivation, it's done in both on sort of an ordinary level, a superior level, and then on a supreme level. And so that's what these say, Dana Bharami, Dana Upabarami, Dana Paramatta Bharami, those are the different levels of Paramatta is like transcendent, the transcendent level of cultivation of generosity. So that refining the way in which one approaches the cultivation of these qualities. Also, just the root of the word parami means something that is a crossing over. So it's like the quality of generosity or whatever virtue it is has the power to help cross over, to take one from one place to another, from samsara to nibbana, from delusion to wisdom, from confusion to peace. So that picks one up and carries one across. So there. So we can pick up this chant, but then it's also sort of recollecting and directing attention to the attention to the Buddha, to the image, realizing that say the image is a physical manifestation of these properties, and as then serves as a reminder for us. Dana parami sammano, dana upaparami sammano, dana paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Sila parami sammano, sila parami sammano, sila paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Nekamma parami sammano, nekamma upaparami sammano, nekamma paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Panya parami sammano, panya upaparami sammano, panya paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Viriya parami sammano, viriya upaparami sammano, viriya paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Kandi parami sammano, kandi upaparami sammano, kandi paramata parami sammano, metta maitri karuna mudita upekha parami sammano, iti piso bhagava Sajja parami sammano,
สัจจะอุปปารมีสัมมาโนสัจจะปรมาตถปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาไมตรีกรุณามุทิตาอุเบกขาภารมีสัมมาโนอิติปิโสภะคะวาอธิฏฐานภารมีสัมมาโนอธิฏฐานอุปปารมีสัมมาโนอธิฏฐานปรมาตถปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาไมตรีกรุณามุทิตาอุเบกขาปารมีสัมปันโนอิติปิโสภะคะวาเมตตาปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาอุปปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาปรมาตถปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาไมตรีกรุณามุทิตาอุเบกขาปารมีสัมมาโนอิติปิโสภะคะวาอุเบกขาภารมีสัมมาโนอุเบกขาอุปปารมีสัมมาโนอุเบกขาปรมาตถปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาไมตรีกรุณามุทิตาอุเบกขาปารมีสัมมาโนอิติปิโสภะคะวาดัสสะภารมีสัมมาโนดัสสะอุปปารมีสัมมาโนดัสสะปรมาตถปารมีสัมมาโนเมตตาไมตรีกรุณามุทิตาอุเบกขาภารมีสัมมาโนอิติปิโสภะคะวา
The next thing that we'll do is together as a chant on the page 85, volume 1 of the chanting book, the dark book, and the chant on the teaching of mindfulness of breathing from the Anapanasati Sutta. And this is again a central teaching when the Buddha gives the tools for how to train the mind, cultivate the mind, focus the mind, direct the mind, so that it is able to not be pulled into the world, not be drawn into the swirl of samsara. The most common tool that he gave, the most common method of practice was meditation or mindfulness of breathing. Of course, he gave many different techniques and methods, but I think quite central to the practice and the training is this practice of mindfulness of breathing, but it's say mindfulness of breathing that's also based on reflection, investigation, a purposeful attending to the mind, so that there is a full development of the four foundations of mindfulness. In the teaching on the foundations of mindfulness, the Buddha said this is the direct way for the overcoming of suffering, and then mindfulness of breathing is sort of the way to implement that. So if the Buddha symbolizes wisdom, compassion, purity, symbolizes the say the one who, Pulu, Putu, and Pubarban, the one who knows, the awakened one, the radiant one, the way to do that is through mindfulness of breathing. So we could do this chant together, and then after that we could have another short period of meditation.
Andamayan anapana sati sutapatan manamase. Anapana sati bhikkhave bhavita bahurikata. Because when mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated, mahapala hoti mahani sansa, it is of great fruit and great benefit. Anapana sati bhikkhave bhavita bahulikata. When mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated, Chataro satipatthane paripurendi, it fulfills the four foundations of mindfulness. Chataro satipatthana bhavita bahulikata. When the four foundations of mindfulness are developed and cultivated, satabochange paripurendi, they fulfill the seven factors of awakening. Satabocanga bhavita bahulikata. When the seven factors of awakening are developed and cultivated, vijja vimutting paripurendi, they fulfill true knowledge and deliverance. Katham bhavita cha bhikkhave anapana sati katham bahulikata. And how, because this mindfulness of breathing developed and cultivated, mahapala hoti mahani sansa, so that it is of great fruit and great benefit. Inna bhikkhave bhikkhu, here bhikkhus a bhikkhu, aranyagatowa, gone to the forest, rukamulakatowa, to the foot of a tree, sunyakaragatowa, or to an empty hut, nisiyatipalankam ahujitowa, sits down having crossed his legs, Ujung ayang panidaya parimukang sating upatapetwa, sets his body erect, having established mindfulness in front of him. So satova asasati satova pasasati, ever mindful he breathes in, mindful he breathes out. Dikanwa asasando dikan asasami pachanati. Breathing in long, he knows I breathe in long. Dikanwa asasando dikan asasami pachanati. Breathing out long, he knows I breathe out long. Rasamwa asasando rasam asasami pachanati. Breathing in short, he knows I breathe in short. Rasanwa pasasando rasam pasasami pachanati. Breathing out short, he knows I breathe out short. Samakaya pati sanveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body. Samakaya pati sanveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains thus, I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body. Pasammayang kaya sankhayang hasasi samiti sikati. He trains thus, I shall breathe in, tranquilizing the bodily formations. Pasammayang kaya sankharam pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, tranquilizing the bodily formations. Veti pati sanveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, experiencing rapture. Veti pati sanveti pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, experiencing rapture. Sukha pati sanveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, experiencing pleasure. Sukha pati sanveti pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, experiencing pleasure. Citta sankhara pati samveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, experiencing the mental formations. Citta sankhara pati samveti pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, experiencing the mental formations. Pasammayang citta sankharam asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, tranquilizing the mental formations. Pasammayang citta sankharam pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, tranquilizing the mental formations. Citta pati samveti asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, experiencing the mind. Citta pati samveti pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, experiencing the mind. Adipamodayam cittang asisi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, gladdening the mind. Adipamodayam cittang asisi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, gladdening the mind. Sammadaham cittang asasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, concentrating the mind. Sammadaham cittang pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, concentrating the mind. Vimochayam cittang pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, liberating the mind. Vimochayam cittang pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, liberating the mind. Aniccanupasya sasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, contemplating impermanence. Aniccanupasya pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, contemplating impermanence. Viraganupasya sasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, contemplating the fading away of passions. Viraganupasya pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, contemplating the fading away of passions. Nirodhanupasya pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, contemplating cessation. Nirodhanupasya pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, contemplating cessation. Patinisaghanupasya sasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe in, contemplating relinquishment. Patinisaghanupasya pasasi samiti sikati. He trains us. I shall breathe out, contemplating relinquishment. Evam bhavitako bhikkhave anapanasati evam bahurikata. Because that is how mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated. Mahapala hoti mahani sansati, so that it is of great fruit and great benefit.
Sit quietly, bring as we've just chanted these different themes that are possible to bring up in the mind in just establishing mindfulness of the body and um, experiencing the whole body, um, or paying attention to feelings that we have, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Mind itself of say, flattening the mind. Of course, today is all of the goodness that has been done and accomplished, and to be bringing that to mind and just gladdening the mind. Abhi pamoda yang pamoda, so like delighting, able to bring delight. Meditation and spiritual practice into a chore, a duty. Enjoy it. And bring up themes for investigation in terms of, or for the arising of wisdom, contemplating impermanence, dispassion, cessation, relinquishment. We've got lots of options. And of course, these are all options that the Buddha gave us. Certain aspect of gratitude and maybe even wonder at how fortunate we are. Sit quietly, paying attention to the breath, bringing to mind these wholesome qualities. Okay, so the next part of this ceremony requires us to get out of the way. Maybe Ajahn Kurudamo, you could just move over there. I don't know that you... Yeah, I guess that'd work, yeah. Yeah, either we can scoot down. And things like this could go. Take that. That doesn't fit now. I can sit up in the front there. That's okay. Sit in front of you. And then... People come up to that tray if that could be... That's, it's just that people get to it. No, that stays up there. Slide that in here. It's out of the way. And this. Okay, we have a plan. What we're planning to do, because everybody has flowers, and the lighter. In one of those... Who was paying attention? Yeah. Who was... Okay. So everybody has been given flowers. So what we're going to do is we can all be chanting the Itipiso chant, which is a recollection of the qualities of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And as we're chanting, I just encourage everybody to bring to mind both the qualities of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, the qualities of say, that aspiration for peace, for purity, for wisdom, for compassion, and also just that sense of focusing attention on the Buddha. If we think of consecration, it's more like allowing something, physical manifestation, to be an embodiment of our aspiration, of what we aspire to. And as we're chanting, because then when we chant, so that bringing attention with our hands in Anjali, bringing attention to the heart, having the flowers there, sort of like a direct connection, and then bring them up, and the Sangha can go up first, and we can. It's like having those aspirations and offering to the Buddha, making that offering, and allowing that offering to be symbolized in this. We'll continue the chant. Brought up the flowers and made their aspirations, brought their good wishes, and say even when you come back, the chanting, keep the chanting going, and. Iti piso bhagava araham samma sambuddho vijajarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro bodhisattva sarati satta eva manusanam buddho bhagavati sawakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pacatam veditavo vinyuditi supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho nyaya patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho samīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho yaditam cattari purisayuhani atta purisa bhogama esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo takineyo anjali karaniyo anuttaram punya ketam lokasati piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijajarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro bodhisattva sarati satta deva manusanam buddho bhagavati sawakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pacatam veditavo vinyuditi supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho nyaya patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho samīci patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho yaditam cattari purisayuhani atta purisa bhogava esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo takineyo anjali karaniyo anuttaram punya ketam lokasati piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijajarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro bodhisattva sarati satta deva manusanam buddho bhagavati sawakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pacatam veditavo vinyuditi supatipanno bhagavato
จุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาณิทังชัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอัตถปุริสโภคาลาเอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆปาหุเนโยปาหุเนโยทาทิเนโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตโรปุริสธัมมัสสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสสานังพุทโธภะคะวะติสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันติติโกอะคาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกปัญญาโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพวิญญูหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาติตังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอัตถปุริสปุกะละเทสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุเนโยอาหุเนโยทาคิเนโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาลิภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตโรปุริสธัมมัสสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสสานังพุทโธภะคะวะติสวากขาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมสันติติโกอะคาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปัญญิโกปัจจตังเวทิตาโพวิญญูหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุจุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาติตังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอัตถปุริสปุคละ เอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆปาหุเนโยปาหุเนโยตาทิเนโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญาเกตังโลกัสสาลิ
So that just about ends it for today. And we'll chant the verses of sharing and aspiration, which is on page 33. It's a dedication of merit, dedication of blessings. Before that, just to acknowledge the and to thank the lay community. Many people came together to help with the preparations, setting up of the shrine, setting up of things, and it was much appreciated. And the Sangha, there was a lot of running around in these last several days, trying to pull things together, get the house cleaned out, get things set up here in the hall, in the whole building, and so that's just to express appreciation. Also to invite, for people who don't realize that there's actually another floor down below, there's please invite you all to go down and see the rest of the building. I mean, we did get there's another small shrine room down below, and there's library and various rooms that we'll be using, and so it is a extensive building. Yes, Ajahn Jodhipalo gives a very strong encouragement: do not lean on the bookshelves. When you see the library, you see it's. I think it was I don't know what was holding up the bookshelves before, but they were there. We got a lot of books, and the bookshelves are kind of cobbled together, but it'll slowly come together. And again, also at the end of the ceremony, after the closing homage, people can be leaving as you wish, but then if anybody would like one of the Buddha images, then please come to see me, and I'll have images here for people to give to people as gifts. It's a good reminder of the day. Great thing to recollect this. Okay, we'll do the page 33, volume 1. Now let us chant the verses of sharing and aspiration. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, and through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until I realize Nirvana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of illusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge, unsurpasses the protection of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble guide. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all these, may darkness and
สัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวะพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสุวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโต